Welcome, welcome to another edition of Fansview Fridays. Today we'll be talking about NonDiscon in Lakewood, Colorado, which took place on October 13th through the 15th, 2000. I've never been to this convention, but I have friends who have been to NonDiscon, and basically, let's just dive in right into it. But if this is your first time checking out Fansview Fridays is a weekly live stream on my Twitch channel where we go over Kevin Lillard's convention reports. For those of you who do not know Kevin Lillard was a pioneer in convention coverage and cosplay photography. He would visit conventions almost like every other weekend or so, most of the major conventions in North America at the time, and he would go in, talk about various panels, cosplayers, and so forth. He really captured a picture of what it was like to be at that convention that he covered. A lot of the information here is almost lost to history, and with Fansview Fridays, we do not want this piece of North American fandom, Western fandom, to get lost in the ether. A lot of his website is saved by archive.org, and we also know how fragile archive.org can be as well. So let's travel back in time to NonDiscon 2000. Actors Linnell McGrath, Juliet Cesaria, and Pamela Widener of the Oh My Goddess cast were part of the show in Colorado. All right, let's take a look on Friday. Some of the biggest fans made the earliest arrivals at the Colorado event. For the second year in a row, the Sheraton Denver West, several miles from downtown, was home of NonDiscon. Hey, I know this guy. Superfan Rob Miles was one of the group's attendees and found a breakfast table at the hotel's restaurant on Friday morning. Along with Steve Bennett, oh, check out that bib, of Studio Iron Cat, was last spotted at the previous weekend's Anime Weekend Atlanta. This page also saw the artist of Fudupa-kun change in Cedar Rapids in 1999. In mid-October to 2000, Hiroshi Aro was back in the US. Richard Noboru Kekahuna of Bandai was also at breakfast. A little later, we learned that another US anime company, not Bandai, was getting ready to announce the acquisition of a major anime title at NonDiscon, taking one of the biggest series in the business away from another company. Here's a friendly representative of the determinedly non-political Bay Area Anime Society. Many of those members spent the previous weekend at the new Animagic convention north of Los Angeles. There are a lot of Colorado costumers on Friday. All right, let's just take a look at cosplay in 2000. And remember, be kind when commenting about these cosplays. A lot of these cosplays were made during a time when we didn't really have a lot of resources. We just made do with what we had, whether it was getting a Chinese kipao dress over in Chinatown, or just taking a bed sheet, or just kind of like just rummaging through a closet to find the next best thing to create costumes of our favorite anime characters. So yeah, it's scrolling through here. And I do admit, when I was younger, just going through Fansview and just seeing all the amateur costumes here, it also made cosplay feel like less intimidating, because like, hey, I can do this. Oh, hey, I didn't know I could like use this and call it a cosplay. Because at the end of the day, cosplay is just for fun, right? We got Vampire Princess Miu. I believe that has 3x3 eyes. All right. We have more cosplayers here. Snap, we got Duo. Did anyone catch that Gundam Wing announcement at San Diego Comic Con? That is an awesome Sailor Mars. I love the choice of fabric. Have one of the Powerpuff Girls. Scrolling down here. Oh, hey, a selfie. And a selfie stick. Ha, 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 yeah. Vash. It's always amusing when I hear like Gen Z say like, oh, vintage Trigun cosplay. Hi, I was one of those vintage Trigun cosplayers. I was cosplaying as Wolfwood, like the first time ever I presented masculine. Okay, we have a Renoa. Again, this is 2000. It was very common to see a lot of Final Fantasy VIII cosplays. Oh, there's Lena Inverse. Okay, just scrolling through here. Has a pretty Sakura. And then Tomoyo. Got Lee Shaoran. And if you recognize any of these cosplayers here and you would like to shout them out, you can do so in the chat and you can also do so in the comments. The opening ceremonies were just for fun. Here's Becca Norman, one of the people behind Nadeshiko, now in its 4th year. And here's one of the members of the Colorado Coda group that provided the convention's first musical interlude. Rob Miles of the Bay Area Animation Society had some gentle joshes for the guests of honor, but no one had anything but praise for the English language leads from the Oh My Goddess series. From left to right, Juliet Cesario, Bill Dandy, Linnell McGrath-Erd, and Pamela Widener Skuld were part of a reunion, joined by Scott Simpson Keiichi and director Scott Houle. After one of the artists discarded an afro that deserved the title of Fright Wig, the members of the Panther Comics group took their bow, followed by Steve Bennett of Studio Iron Cat and one of his Iron Cat artists, Hiroshi Aro. Carl Horn of Viz, seen previous week at Anime Week in Atlanta, had more to say about his doujinshi project. Jan Scott Frazier, not seen at a US convention in months, promised more hints on an animation project she was pursuing. The other persons to be a part of that project was actor and director Taliesin Jaffe, and the name of Pioneer was mentioned. Anime International Company sent 2 of its top production people to Colorado. Kazuya Tanaka, AIC sound director, was first introduced, followed by Hiroki Hayashi, director of the Tenchi Muyo and El Hazard series. Waiting for all this to conclude was singer and composer Mari Ujima, who treated fans to a concert. Okay, I think our next section, yes, it is going to be Mari Ujima's concert. All right, let's just take a look here. Of all the Ujima concerts that this page has seen, Mari may have enjoyed the one the most. Tonight I feel good, she said during the show after the Nadeshiko opening ceremonies. She said she took a lot of energy from Colorado convention fans, and that energy showed from the way Ujima enjoyed chatting with those fans between songs. I really enjoy it because people like me. I like it when people are interested in me and give me attention, she said. Ujima performed a couple of songs that she wrote in response to a recent romance that went bad, and she admitted that she hasn't had much luck with men in the last year or so. In response, she's taking 12 hours of acting lessons each week and tries to pursue that part of her career. It got so deep I cried on stage once or twice, Mari said about the lessons. Okay, here's Mari Ujima. All right, let's go into Saturday. There was a large collection of costumers in Nadeshiko halls as Saturday began. Okay, let's just kind of scroll through. We got Kenshin, Martin's successor Nadeshiko. We have a cat girl of sorts and someone in a kimono. Okay, we've got Botan, Angel Sanctuary. Okay, we got some Sailor Scouts. More Sailor Scouts. I guess this is a registration table here where people are picking up their badges. Oh, hey, there's a Noriko. Squall looking tough. Jessie. We got Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho. Oh, we have Kasumi from Maison Koku. No, wait, not Kasumi from... sorry, Rama 1/2. Though I'd like to theorize that Kasumi grew up to be what's her face in Mizunai Koku. I was just thinking about that series earlier today. Okay. Looks like we got some broken links here. Unfortunately, this is kind of the nature. Oh, hey, we have some cosplayer here. Love the outfit. Okay, just scrolling through. Alright, the Oh My Goddess reunion was popular among fans. It's been years since Left to Right. Scott Simpson played Kiichi, Juliet Cesario played Belldandy, Pamela Widener was Skald, and Linnell McGrath voiced Erd in the anime Ego dub of Oh My Goddess, produced by Coastal Carolina Recording. All four leads got together at NondisCon to recall the good old days. Erd is not really anything like me, McGrath said, except I get to play the bombshell that I wouldn't get to play anywhere else. After playing Erd, McGrath moved to Los Angeles, where she's played roles such as a nurse in a hospital drama. I'm not really a brat, Wiener said. I'm not a little kid, but I've always had energy. Voicing Skuld was fun, but all of the screaming gave Wiener a headache. As for the talk, Wiener nearly got to play Erd. She explained she had read some of Erd's lines at on audition, but didn't have the part of the goddess dub until the original Skuld actor withdrew from the project to perform a stage play, and Widener then got the role. Ever since I was little, I had the label of sweet, Sario said. Belldandy loves animals, and I love animals. I don't have her powers, but I wish I did. Simpson said that he shares Keiichi's luck with women because he got Juliet in the same way that his character got Belldandy. By the way, take a close look at some of the shows from the first 2 seasons of Star Trek The Next Generation, and you'll spot Cesario as an extra. Also, when you buy the next Virtua Fighter game, you'll hear Cesario as Sarah Bryant. There's a movie version of Oh My Goddess in Japan, and Colorado fans wanted to know if the original language voice cast might get to reprise their roles if the movie is brought to North America. The actors said there's no way to tell if that would happen, and that it depended on the company that might get the rights to the Goddess movie. They'd love to get that change though. It was one of the first projects we worked on, said Simpson. We're better than that now. We'd walk over hot coals and broken glass to do that. Okay, I'm going to take a quick voice break here. I'm going to go grab some tea. But in the meantime, I will put out my advertisement for my GoFundMe for my kitty cat. And if you can, please donate to Nico's GoFundMe. My kitty just had a life-saving surgery. So if you have the time, link in the description to find out how you can help. Alright, we are back. More costumers arrived on Saturday afternoon. So let's just take a look here. Okay. Scrolling down. Scrolling through here. Looking at all the costumes, we got Sailor Pluto. Oh, we got some wash. We got a wash shoe and a puppet. Some of these I don't quite recognize off the top of my head, but then again, if you do recognize the costumers or what they're from, just shout it out in the comments. Shout it out in the chat. We got Lime from Saber Marionette. Still has a pretty banging opening. We have Tuxedo Mask and Eternal Sailor Moon. Also, we have a Cardcaptor Sakura. Oh, I love that Minmay poster they have there for Nandeskan. Got Sailor Jupiters. And we have Bunny Girl. Okay, let's see if the next page has any more photos. Yeah, Vampire Princess Miyu. Oh, that's the second one we've seen throughout the con report. Miyaka and Ash. Street Fighter, Sailor Moon yet again, and Princess Fireball. Okay, let's take a look at more Saturday good times. There was a straight talk from the people who do the dubs. All right, people who do the dubs, what wisdom can you bestow upon us? One of the most common criticisms of anime dubs by English-speaking fans is that the actors in the dubs sound flat and lifeless compared to the energetic performance of the Japanese voice actors. That question was put into the dubbing producers on hand at a Nandeskan panel discussion on Saturday. The response from industry people is that there are differences in culture and perception that can make the Japanese performance sound more intense than English language versions. Matt Greenfield of ADV Films said the Japanese anime acting voice is much louder than the typical Japanese speaking voice, so it's bound to sound more intense and less restrained to English speakers. Their normal speaking patterns are so low and that the acting sounds over the top. It's that melodramatic, Greenfield said. By comparison, English speakers can be more animated in normal conversation than in acting, he hinted. There's a question of the bright, high-pitched Japanese female voices, which are so enticing to English-speaking fans. Taliesin Jaffe of New Generation Films said voices of that timbre don't work in English. You think good ship lollipop when you hear these female voices in English, and they are sounding like they're 8 years old, Jaffe said. Shin Kurokawa of Anime Ego said, you can't get those voices in the States, it's not possible. Scott Houle of Coastal Carolina Recording told the story of how some actors, big-name performers, aren't necessarily good dubbers, which helps show how specialized and difficult is the art of dialogue replacement. Houle Studio in Wilmington, North Carolina also handles dubbing of feature films. Some major actors have seen the collection of anime art on the walls and asked to try to dub a few lines on those shows. More often than not, those performances, according to Houle, are flat as a board. They're just reading. These artists choose manga over Marvel. You know what? Let me take this screenshot. And I will post that when I start posting this video. Like most American fans, they started with superhero comics from DC and Marvel, thinking that was the only way to go when it was time to become comic artists. Then they discovered manga and their lives were changed. Now Panther Comics of Colorado Springs combines the best of both comics worlds in their art. Tony Little, Rodney Little, and Russ Perry, left to right from Panther, took a few minutes from their artist alley table to meet with fans and to talk about their work. Rodney Little was captivated by manga. To me, the art was more important in manga, he said. In the US, the art is color dependent, but there's no story. We didn't know how to read Japanese, but we could still understand the story. You shouldn't have to have words in your story. The manga art told the story itself. Tony Little said that art always was a part with his family since his father was an artist. Tony and his brother Rodney picked up drawing and they'd show off their work to their father, who was a tough critic. He acted like our stuff wasn't drawn by his sons, Tony recalled, saying that sort of tough love helped him learn how to draw. There's art as still life and art that tells stories. Perry said that aspiring comic artists need to learn how to make the story flow across a page. Using the panels of a page of art isn't easy at first, but it can be learned with a lot of repetitive practice, the Panther guy said. Only then can the lessons of perspective and anatomy be put to effective use, they said. Maruyama loves talking almost as much as she loves singing. The last time Maruyama made a U.S. appearance on television was on the Pacific Blue series in December 1999. Ijima is next set for a small role on an MTV soap opera in the next few months where she's playing an 18-year-old woman. Ijima made comments about the role and other hopes for the future on Saturday and Nandeskan. Ijima had spoken the previous day about the amount of times she studies acting and continues to look for roles. Because I look a little younger than my real age, my agents can't submit me for those parts for my real age, Ijima said. Add in Ijima's slight Japanese accent and a shortage of film and TV acting roles for Asian women and film parts that can be tough to find, she said. But how does she stay so young looking? She doesn't eat meat, exercises, and washes her face before she goes to bed at night. Most of the songs Ijima performs are her own compositions. The ideas can come anytime, when she's cleaning her house or in the shower, or when she sits down at the keyboard. The best songs that I have written just naturally come from my brain, she said. Ijima next performs at the Genghis Cohen Club in Los Angeles in November. After 1999's No Limit, Ijima is working on what she calls an organic rock album and hopes of more independent albums for the future. When she was asked about her favorite actors, Ijima mentioned Morgan Freeman and then turned to Tim Robbins. He married Susan Sarandon. She was older and had children, but he didn't care. I'm looking for someone like that. Ijima, of course, was referring to her status, unmarried and with 2 sons to care for. Hiroki Hayashi took fans on a tour the world of anime production. As the director of the AIC Animation Studio, Hiroki Hayashi has brought series such as Tenchi Muyo and El Hazard to life. His shows have an energetic flow, but that doesn't happen without long, hard work. To demonstrate the point, Hayashi brought the production material from the Tenchi Muyo and Love Show to Nandeskan. It starts off with the show's Bible, the collection of storyboards that lays out each shot. These rough sketches show how hundreds of scenes will be played out in the final film is made. While fans are used to anime cells, they may not be as familiar with the envelope that holds cells and backgrounds for each scene before they're assembled into a film. Inside the envelope is a rough layout for the cell that will be the master shot for the scene, and the background painting. Nowadays at AIC, the painting is handled digitally along with the cell's coloring. Combine the cell with the background and you have art that nearly is ready for the animation camera, but something missing. The final sequence of cells that make up the movement of the character's mouth, otherwise Ayega couldn't talk convincingly. This represents a finished sequence that is ready for editing, but often the sequences need to be shot. Nandeskan proudly staged the oddest event in anime fandom. Alright, what is the oddest event in anime fandom? I'm curious. Spiders! Please don't expect this extremely unsanctioned event to make any sense. It's just a bunch of fans having fun using anime-shaped items to try to knock over other anime-shaped items. After the success of the 1999 event, it was repeated for 2000 with even odder items, like bug hitting contests with bugs from Oh My Goddess. I wonder if they still have this. So people just take like Nerf guns and just shoot things down? If any of y'all still go to NDK, I need to know. The small Colorado convention had more than 100 walk-on entrants in a Saturday night masquerade. Okay, we have Anthe, excuse me. Oh, we have Miyaka, Washu. Quite a bit of Sailor Moon performers. Yep, there's Mercury, there's a Bell Dandy. Okay, Ash, Tinyanko, and Tiny Sailor Moon. And then we also have Sailor Moon. We have Hotaru in her black emo girl outfit. Keitsuke from Evangelion. Iris from Sakura Taisen. I'm just loving the amount of like magical girl representation during this time period. No, the links are broken. Sad. I love how this guy is like doing the world pose. We have, I guess it's someone's attempt an interpretation of Eternal Sailor Mars, but with the wings. Okay, looks like someone's trying to sing their way through Masquerade. Okay, we have Tomoyo. Oh, check out that digital camera. I don't even think that's a digital camera. I think that's still a film camera. Scrolling down. Okay, just scrolling through. Lena Inverse. I want to say that's Kuno. Another Lena Inverse of sorts. Princess Mononoke, Goku. Team Rocket person, likely Jessie. The black wig is kind of throwing me off a bit. Okay, we have Pikachu. Okay, just scrolling through here. Oh, we have Devil Hunter Yoko. Sailor Mercury. Sorry, not Sailor Mercury. Sailor Neptune. My bad. Another Princess Fireball. Okay, we have Yuffie. Tall guy here. Okay, scrolling through. Okay, you have Uranus over here. Oh, I love that Goku with the balloons. Okay, and we're out on our way to the last page. Let's see if any photos load. Sadly, no photos. So sad. Okay, here are the Masquerade winners from the judges and the audience. Oh, check out this guy for first place. I'm not sure what this is from, but yeah, this just looks amazing. Audience favorite. Wow, like armor is just really killing it. Aw, second place went to Baby Eternal Sailor Moon. Wait. Audience favorite, and then third place. Best preteen. That's an infant, not a preteen. Best traditional Japanese costume. Best video game costume. Aw. I love how this tiny Sailor Moon is just killing it. Hiroki Hayashi's award. It's this Pikachu kid here. Hiroshi Aro's award. Not sure what this is from, but Looks very ominous. If anyone again knows what this is, just mention that in the chat, mention that in the comments. I'm curious to know. Steve Bennett's award. Scott Fraser's award went to Iris. Pearl Horn's award went to this Battle Bunny. And Talison's award went to a Princess Mononoke cosplayer. Alright, let's head over to Sunday. Sunday costumers in Colorado are documented here. Well, clearly they are. Okay, just take a look-see here. We also have a Princess Serenity. I need to fix up my Princess Serenity cosplay. It's Gendo. We have a Belle Dandy. Oh, we have an Alita. That's awesome. I think there needs to be more Alita cosplay out there in the world. Just saying. Okay, we got Duo and Lady Un. Okay, we have Miyaka. We also have Alina Inverse. Don't mind me, I'm just like looking at the dealer's hall in the background. Got a tattoo. We have Quistis and we have Squall. Aw. We have Noriko and Chichiri. I nearly said Chiriko. No, Chiriko's a different character for Shugi Yugi. Sunday was a day for product talk. Here's the result of something mentioned at Anime Iowa in August. An alliance between Studio Iron Cat, represented by Hiroshi Aro on the left, and Steve Bennett at left center, and ADV Films with David Williams at the right center and Matt Greenfield on the right. At first, the common link will be the Spectral Force, where ADV Films will release the film version and the game, and Iron Cat will release the manga. More joint projects could follow, reviving ADV's earlier attempt to release the manga. Williams and Greenfield had one major new title to announce: the first 2 seasons of the Sailor Moon TV series, a property they will take over from DiC. ADV promised to release those episodes in their original order, but as DiC produced them for US television. The Sailor Moon announcement got a big cheer from the people at the ADV panel, as it talked about ADV's release of Farscape, Robotech on video, and Parasite Eve in theaters. The ADV panel got some questions about the status of the North American release of Neon Genesis Evangelion movies, and ADV referred those questions to Manga Entertainment, which has the rights. Keith Burgess of Manga said they're hoping to release those movies in 2001, but it's still slow going. While the English language script has been prepared for the Ava films, decisions still remain to be made, such as how to handle transition between the first and second films. By the way, Greenfield said that ADV was able to buy the rights to 11 TV series for what would have cost a Texas company to get the rights to the Ava movies. With Evangelion films still pending, the big titles for manga will be The Blood the Last Vampire, which could get a theatrical release, and Street Fighter Alpha. No word yet from Richard Noboru Kekahuna of Bandai on the status of the Vision and Escaflowne series on Fox in the US, although he said that Escaflowne will be shown on the ZTV network in Canada. November will see cable cast of Blue Submarine No. 6 and Gundam Wing Endless Waltz on the Cartoon Network, he noted. Kekahuna also noted that Bandai likely will release most of their videos on DVD in 2001. The hot manga title for Viz Communications has been Pokemon. With kids' titles so hot, does that affect the attempts of editors such as Carl Horn to boost the output of manga for adults? No, Horn said, noting that Pokemon's success will generate new fans in the long run for Viz, such as titles like Pulp and Eagle. We're trying to do the Japanese ideal of comics for everybody, said Horn. There was an emphatic demonstration of Asian art of self defense. Long before most convention goers were up and around on Sunday morning, the Academy of Kung Fu Sansu was warming up for a demonstration in Nandeskan. This martial art is Chinese and has been well known in the US for only a few decades. It was emphasized that this technique is taught with the idea in mind that it's best not to be in a position to need to use it, that avoiding violence is as much of the art as fighting. Okay, scroll here. Okay, just some photos of a martial arts demonstration. No one dares to write on these pencil boards. In Japan, they're used as ways to get around the lumps and pits in school desks. In the US, they're used as works of art by anime fans and collectors. Shita Jiki pencil boards are so attractive that fans like these would never dare to write on them. These guys brought dozens of boards to show up at Nandeskan. Every board was carefully protected in a plastic sleeve. Boards like the card capture Sakura board are printed on a plastic in lots of 3,000 to 4,000. They typically sell for 250 to 350 yen in Japan, US $2.50, 350 cents. But the price can be 10 times as much for North American fans, depending on their condition, rarity, and the price that a collector is willing to pay. The board shown here looks great, but its face is slightly scarred from use, which would make it nearly useless to a hardcore collector. A casual Sakura fan would be pleased, though most pencil boards can be bought for $4 to $8 in the US. Collectors compare pencil boards to cells for the quality of the art. Of course, they're far less expensive than cells, but they're also made in larger quantities. The boards can be purchased in Japanese stores, but they're also produced as promotional items for anime shows and given away as souvenirs to fans who attend movie premieres and other events. Those promotional boards are relatively rare and prized by collectors. There are even doujinshi boards. As with most anime collectibles, pencil boards can be counterfeited and bootleg. Collectors said they've seen boards that obviously were made from art scans from anime magazines. To tell fake from the real thing, collectors look at the code numbers in the back of the boards. They show the price, classification, and date of manufacture. Sharp-eyed fans may recognize the name Movic on the back. Collectors said that the company makes the most pencil boards. Said that that company makes most of the pencil boards they collect. Here's a glance at the Transcontinental Anime Game Show. It's so portable that it's becoming a fixture at anime conventions, even when a generation of fans was born long after the original TV game show was aired. The anime match game challenges fans to outguess some personalities and figure what sort of answer they will give to a crazy question that always has a blank in the middle. After appearances at Project Acon, Anime Week Atlanta, the lights and lucite boxes were packed up and shipped to Colorado. Handsome host Grego invited Linnell McGrath, Pamela Widener, Scott Simpson, and Julie Cesario to participate, along with artist Scott Frazier, Steve Bennett, and producer Shinko Karo was dragged into the mix when Bennett was late. Okay, just scrolling through here. Fans got an inside look into the world of anime sound. If you like the sound of Japanese voice actors and are intrigued by the audio effects in anime, you need to know about this man. Kazuya Tanaka is a sound director for the Anime International Company and was responsible for the audio on such shows as Jubei-chan and Pet Shop of Horrors. His post is a rare and important job. Tanaka said there are only 10 sound directors in the entire anime industry, and he works on 7 or 8 projects at the same time. While the sound directors report to producers and directors, they handle an enormous range of duties. That just starts with mixing audio tracks to produce a finished product. On many shows, the sound director auditions and casts the voice artists, then supervises the after-recording lip-syncing sessions. If it's not good acting, I'll ask them to do it again and again and again, Tanaka said, and the sound director often commissions the music for the anime soundtrack. Tanaka brought with him a videotape of a voice actor's party, which included Kiko Inoue, best known for his original voice of Belle Dandy from Oh My Goddess. The tape also showed an after recording session, which is radically different than a dubbing session in the US. The American technique is to place a lone actor in a booth and have him dub his lines separately from the rest of the cast. The Japanese system looks like a radio play. Several microphones are set up, the entire cast gathers and records the lines as the video plays. Often, there's no completed film for the dubbing session, and the actors have to use keyframes and pencil tests for the cues. Tanaka noted that anime productions are a little behind the times when it comes to mixing and encoding soundtracks. Most modern films use 5:1 Dolby encoding or its equivalent, but most anime is mixed with only 2-track stereo, he said. Tanaka told the audience that he hoped his presentation would help them appreciate the behind-the-scenes work that goes into an anime production. Later, at the closing ceremonies, he said he hoped to return to Nandeskan one day and bring some of the Japanese voice actors with whom he works. Okay, let's take a quick break right now. Let me just put in an advert for the current books that I'm currently reading. I'm currently reading books from the Enchanted Cottagecore Woods series. These are a series of standalone books that are magical, cottagecore, cozy, and spicy. I'm currently reading Poison Knights and Twilight Academy right now, and the tropes include girl who runs away from fiance who tries to unalive her, and then meets this grave robber, and spiciness ensues in cottagecore fashion. It's a fun read right now. Can't wait to read the rest of it, but I will put this on display here while I enjoy this sip of tea. Okay, we are going to go into Kevin's final thoughts of Nandeskan 2000. The author shares some thoughts about the convention in the shadow of the Rocky Mountains. On the previous weekend at Anime Week in Atlanta, a Sunday evening tour of the hotel's main meeting area led to nothing but the discovery of the remains of the event. A similar tour at Nandeskan was met with the sounds of happy crowd and the sight of artists Steve Bennett and Scott Frazier autographing shirts for fans and autographing the fans in some cases. Anime Week in Atlanta feels like a frat party. Nandeskan feels like a family reunion, and the family grew in 2000. Nearly as many people were on hand for the convention's opening day as had been on hand for all the previous year's event. Nandeskan experienced one questionable sign of success on Sunday. There was a line to get into the dealer's room. In 1999, the room was used to sell merchandise. It was large enough to hold everyone who wanted to get inside at any time. In 2000, the room was filled to overflowing on the convention's busiest day, and to keep the room from being overstuffed, the convention decided to limit the number of people inside at any one time. The Colorado convention had plenty of room to spare at the Sheraton Denver West in 1999, but the facility was pretty much filled in 2000. Part of that may have been because there was no fandom competition in 2000. While there was a sci-fi convention on the same week of 1999, a much larger factor was the appearance of Mari Ijima, who charmed a new group of fans in Colorado. Ijima was at her most intriguing over the weekend, chatting happily with fans from stage and the autograph line. Thanks to the hard work of the convention staff, Nandeskan has a reputation of being a child and family-friendly event. That point with stress when one of the most popular costumes of the weekend was a little girl in the Sailor Moon outfit. Her mother said she spent more time making her daughter's outfits than her own. But the weekend had something of a Sailor Moon flair, from a large number of costumers to the announcement that ADV Films would start producing and selling Sailor Moon videos. If Sailor Moon can be seen as one of the starter anime series, that could be seen as a hint that there's plenty of room for anime fandom growth in the Rocky Mountains. The big growth came in with a costume contest. There was more than 100 entries in the Saturday night event, around 3 times as many entered the previous year's shows. Costuming is a measurement of fan enthusiasm, and the Colorado event made a big step forward in the area. Note to the costumers, no, the Spawn costume wasn't really from an anime series, but no one cared, especially the audience, which voted Spawn as its favorite costume. Another measurement is the age of convention years. The 1999 crowd was young, but the 2000 crowd seemed younger, with a lot of kids being shadowed by their parents. Of course, 2001 brings a new challenge for the Colorado Convention. Due to hotel contracts, NondisCon will be held on the same September weekend as Anime Weekend Atlanta. Half a continent away, this author noted, would seem like a couple dozen of people who attended both events in 2000. It's likely that there will be enough fans for both events on the same weekend. Getting enough dealers to fill both dealers' rooms might be more of a challenge, though, and will it be possible to go to both conventions next year? Could someone make the plane connections and travel to Colorado and Georgia on the same weekend and enjoy the trip? Of course, life brings its challenges. In meeting the delightful Scott Simpson and Juliet Cesario, who somehow came up with a well-earned shirt that said Goddess. At the start of the weekend, we learned that Juliet's father had died a few weeks earlier. The couple told us about the painful experience of handling his death, since he had become unresponsive and had not left a living will that would easily let his family decide his fate. Simpson and Cesario spoke about what it was like to head to their father's home in Arizona and go through the mementos of his life and musical career. And there was a moment at the closing ceremonies where Kevin Bennett started to get into tears in his eyes when he spoke about raising money for the American Cancer Society through t-shirt sales, and you know he was reflecting on the death of his and Steve Bennett's father a few weeks earlier. A death unhappily happened a short time after Kevin Bennett was married to Sachiko Uchida. And here's a bonus look at a blatant attempt to make a well-known artist look silly in public again. Steve Bennett's hat. If you thought the Anime Iowa feature on the surprise party for Toshifumi Yoshida of Viz was strange, you'll be baffled by what happened to Steve Bennett of Student Iron Cat and NondisCon. Bennett, a Civil War buff, is known for wearing a Confederate hat to conventions. Shame on you, Steve. That hat disappeared on Saturday, only to reappear in the hands of artist Scott Frazier, or rather, Jan Scott Frazier. Yeah, a trans woman stealing a Confederate hat. That speaks volumes in 2025. Frazier said she would return that hat to whomever could hang on, let me just get my genders correct here. Frazier said she would return the hat to whomever could prove they were Bennett. But as there were several people claiming to be the artists, well, they weren't all people, including the four-legged fan wearing the miniature "I slept with Steve Bennett" shirt. And likely suspects were brought on stage to a series of inquisitions from Frazier. All the suspects were queried, no solution was found at first, so Frazier asked for help from the audience. Fearing that Iron Cat artist Hiroshi Aro could bring the real Bennett, of course he couldn't, and Frazier kept trying, only to discover that the real owner of the hat in a dramatic moment on stage. I love this photo of Jan Scott here. Like, what's happening to me? Okay, on that note, we concluded our NondisCon 2000 edition of Fansview Friday. Thank you so much for joining me, traveling back through time as we look at this time capsule of anime fandom in Colorado. If you like what we do, definitely hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel, hit that follow button on our Twitch channel, and definitely donate to our Ko-Fi. Your donation to our Ko-Fi really helps us do what we do, and we appreciate any appreciation you might have to show for us. Again, we always appreciate your support, and you can also check out my book. It is out in the world, the Fangirl Diaries. This book is all about this era of anime fandom. What was it like to be a teenager growing up with anime in the 90s and into the 2000s, especially when shoujo anime was the face of fandom? This was quite a time to be alive, and this is quite a time to be a cringy teenager whose whole personality was being a magical girl. And with that said, thank you so much again for tuning in to Fansview Fridays. Info in the description if you want to follow us, support us in any way, whether it's Ko-Fi, buying our book, or even donating to our little kitty Nico. With that said, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week at the cottage.